A very good morning to all. Am I audible properly? Okay. So, as we have completed the complete syllabus, from today we are going to start with the revision session, right? We are going to revise from chapter number 1 to chapter number 10 till our term date. Let's say our term and date will be declared by GTU very soon. So by that time, we are going to revise all the units once. So if you have any doubts in any of the units in between, you can just clarify it, right? And the second thing is that today actually we are having two lectures, right? But in actual we will not have two lectures today. We will have only one lecture, that is from 9:30 to 10:30. From 10:30 to 11:30, you will have the Digital Fundamentals lecture from Nirav sir. He will be sharing the Google Meet link in your WhatsApp group around 10:15 or 10:20. So once our lecture is over at 10:25 or 10:27, you all are requested to join the next lecture of Nirav Tolia sirs using the link that he has sent in your group, right? So this is what the planning for today is. And I think ETC lab has also been suspended from today. A batch, do you know about this thing? A batch, do you know about this thing? Okay, fine. So I think only B batch will be having a PS lab today. And what is the update on Oracle certification, everyone? How many of you are left? Darshit, are you there? Darshit, are you there? Okay, and what is the update on Oracle certificate, everyone? How many of you are still left to upload or generate the certificate from Oracle course? See, your deadline is already over, but still I'm giving you some more time so that you can complete your course. Is there anyone who is still left to complete the course? Is there anyone who is still left to complete the course and upload the certificate? Fine. So let's start with unit number 1 revision. So I hope you would have downloaded all the PPTs from the from the e-content and start referring to it. I have also uploaded COI material to my e-content. So those who are having issue with the email, they can just download it, all the material of COI from my e-content. It is under DBMS only. You will read like the COI M1, COI M2, like this, something would be written there. So you have to download all the things with the title called COI, right? So I think let's start with chapter number 1 then. So what do you mean by a data? What do you mean by data? You have to answer. What do you mean by data? We are talking about introduction to database management system. So what do you mean by data? Collection of raw facts. Okay, very good. So what do you mean by a database? Yes, so what do you mean by a database? What do you mean by a database? A collection of meaningful data. That is what the answer of database would be. Yes, in a proper manner. Right. So this is what a raw facts and information, and a database is a collection of interrelated facts or a meaningful data. And what is database management system? Then what is database management system? Is what is database management system? Yes, what is database management system? A system or a software that allows a user to access, manipulate, and secure our data in a proper way, or software or system to create and manage our complete database. That is what a database management system is. So, what are the disadvantages of file processing system over database management system? We are having 7 to 8 disadvantages. So, does anyone remember? 7 to 8 disadvantages of file processing system over database management system. One by one you can list down. Okay, multiple file formats. Yes, one of them is right. Then data redundancy, atomicity, multiple file formats. Then you have got three. We are still left with some few more, maybe three or four more. Inconsistency, data inconsistency. Okay, Parthiv. Yes, still two or three left. So far I know. Yeah, that is redundancy. Yes. Duplication of data is data redundancy. Difficulty in accessing the data. Yes, very good, Lisa. Still, we are left with two more. We have got about five or six. We are, yes, security problem. Very good. And what is the last problem? One problem is still left. Can anyone tell me? Yes, very good, Mohit. Integrity and concurrency problem. Yes, very good. So data redundancy means a duplication of data is possible if you are using a file formats. Second thing, data inconsistency. We cannot guarantee that the file will be able to handle each type of data and will allow a user to access any type of data anytime. So that is sometimes you may have data inconsistency. Then you have different file formats for storing different types of data. So integrating all types of data would be quite difficult. So that is why it is difficult to access the data. Then integrity problem is you have no proper channel or no proper way to manage the conditions that you have put on a data values. That means, for example, if an account should have minimum 500 amount, then you don't have any specific system in file processing system which will manage that particular condition. That is why it is integrity problem. Security, the reason why security problem is there, because of file can be stolen, file can be lost, it can be damaged. Many different reasons are there for security reasons or security problems. Then we have data isolation. Yes, data can be scattered on a different file formats, so it is quite difficult to integrate. Concurrency problem. Concurrency means two different transactions on the same data cannot be performed, or you cannot access two different files at one time to see the data of any particular I would say any particular data item or field or anything. So that is why it is a concurrency problem. And atomicity, yes, it is not guaranteed that a file processing system will manage the atomicity. Either the operation will be done 100% or it will be reverted back to 0 percentage. It is not guaranteed. It can be possible that it will not manage atomicity in a proper way, and because of that, your data inconsistency will be available, or you will have a problem of data inconsistency. So these are the problems of file processing system, or you can say these are the only advantages of database management system over file processing system. So far, any doubts here in this? Anyone? We have discussed till the disadvantages of file processing system or advantages of database management system. So far, is there any doubt in any of the points, any of the topics that I have discussed? Anyone? Any doubts? Right. So let's move on to the next one. The next one is ANSYS Spark architecture of the model of the database management system. So we have a three-layer architecture. So what are the different layers of this particular architecture? Three-level architecture of DBMS, database management system. Yes, what are the three different levels of database management system? Internal, conceptual, and external. Now, what is the task of internal level? Internal or physical, we can say conceptual or logical, external or view. You can say any of these names. So, what is the task or what is the role of internal or physical level? What is the role of internal or physical level? Parthiv, that's wrong. See, internal or physical level is at the bottom of the architecture. So it means that where the data will be stored, at which place in the disk, or at which data storage available disk, the data will be stored. So internal and physical level mainly deals with where the data will be stored. Clear? Internal or physical level says where the data will be stored. Then comes conceptual or logical level. So what is the task of conceptual or logical level? Anyone would like to answer? Yes, very good. Exactly. Describes the schema of the database. So it will say how our data will be stored in the database. It mainly deals with the schema of the database. So what do you mean by a schema of a database? Yes, what do you mean by a schema of a database? Yes, structure of the data or structure of the database. That means it will tell how many tables it has, what are the columns in the each tables are there, what are the data types of each columns, and all these things relevant to the structure of the database will be stored here in the conceptual level. So conceptual level says that how our data will be stored using a database schema. Right. And now we are moving on to the top level, that is external or view level. So what is the use of it? External or view level. Exactly. What type of data will be stored? So, what data that the user is responsible to give you some data. So, you will come to know that what type of data you will be actually storing in the database. So, it starts from the top level. So, we'll decide what type of data user is going to give. Basis on that data, you will create the schema of the database, and then based on the schema, you will decide where to store the database in a disk. So top level, middle level and bottom level, external and view level, logical and conceptual level, internal and physical level. What, how and where data is stored. Clear with this? So is there any doubt in this? Anyone in this architecture? Yes. So is there any doubt in any of the topics of this architecture? Okay. So moving on next, this is the example we are saying that it will store item name and price. So based on that, you are creating the schema and now you are storing it actually in the internal level. Right. So we have physical level, logical level and view level. Then we have DBMS application architectures, two-tier architecture and three-tier architecture. So can you tell me what do you mean by two-tier architecture? What do you mean by two-tier architecture? What do you mean by two-tier architecture? Yes, it comprises of clients applications and data source. So there is no middleware. Actually, there is a direct communication between the client application and the database. So you can see this is one, right? Client directly connects to the database. So what is the advantage of this system? And what is the advantage of this system first of all? Yes, it's a quick response, easy to maintain, a very low cost systems or low cost architecture, right? So this is what the advantage are, easy to maintain, modification is bit easy, communication is faster. But what is the disadvantages? If you are increasing the number of clients communicating with the one data source, then the performance of the response will be degraded. You will not get that much fast response if your particular number of clients are getting increased, right? So this is what two-tier architecture is, and then becomes three-tier architecture. So what do you mean by three-tier architecture? Yes, what is three-tier architecture? Yes, actually we have a middleware in a three-tier architecture. There will be a client system, there will be a data storage, and in between you will be having one application interface where actually that application interface is responsible to communicate with the client system as well as the server or the data storage, right? So the client will give the request to the application server. The application server will take your request to data storage. The data storage will respond to the request and give the response to the application server, and application server will take back all your response to the client system. So application server actually works as a mediator in the three-tier architecture, right? So what are the advantages of three-tier architecture then? What are the advantages of three-tier architecture? Yes, data security because we don't have direct connection with the data storage, right? Again, if you increase the number of clients, still everything will be managed because all the requests are taken by a application server in the middle, right? So that is why the request will manage in a proper way. Then what is the other? It will give a high performance. Only the one disadvantage is if there is some fault, it will be quite difficult to find out the fault and get it resolved as soon as possible because of its complexity. We don't know which system will have a fault or how the fault can be resolved. So all these things can be disadvantages of this three-tier architecture. So, any doubts in three-tier architecture or two-tier architecture? Anyone? Yes. Is there any doubts? Anyone? Yes. Anyone? Any doubts in three-tier or two-tier architecture? Anyone? Any doubts in three-tier or two-tier architecture? Yes or no? Yes, students. Anyone? Any doubts? Fine. Then can you tell me what do you mean by DDL? We already covered this in lab session. So what do you mean by DDL? What do you mean by DDL? Data definition language. So what is the use of DDL in database? What is the use of DDL? And what commands comes under DDL? Two questions, two answers. For giving description of what, Lisa? Right. So DDL means data definition language. It actually defines the structure of the database, and structure means the schema of the database. So it is mainly used to create a database, to create the tables in the database, to define the columns and its data types in the database and everything. And for that we are having create command to create a table, alter command to change the structure of the existing table, and drop command to delete the existing table from the database. Right? So main three commands. Then we have a rename command that will be used to rename existing table to some new name. Right? So four commands are there: create, alter, drop, rename. Right? So DDL means creating the schema of the database. Then comes DML. So what do you mean by DML? What do you mean by DML? Data manipulation language. What is the use of it? And what commands fall under DML? Right. So to manage, or actually whenever we are talking about data manipulation language, we actually come across a term called data. That means we are actually going to deal with the data, the values of the database. So either we'll be able to insert the values, update the values, remove the values, and fetch the values. So for that, we have insert command to insert the data, update command to change the data, delete command to remove the data from the database, and select command to fetch the data from the database. Now we have four types of select commands. Can anyone tell me what are the types of four different types of select commands? What are the four different types of select commands? What are the four different types of select command? What are the four different types of select command? Anyone who wish to answer this? No, Dirga, I'm talking about four types of select command. That is all about your SQL. How to write down four different types of select command. Just try to think and tell me. Yeah, I will wait for your answer. Yes, that is what I'm asking, Parthiv. Let's say select all rows, all columns. So select star from table name. Select few rows and all columns. That means select star from table name where condition. Select all rows, few columns. That means select column 1, column 2, column 3 from table name, and select few rows and few columns. That means select column 1, column 2, column 3 from table name where condition. So these are the four types of select commands. Right. Next, how to insert a data. Give me the syntax. How to insert the data. Give me syntax. How to insert the data. Give me the syntax. Okay, so let us say the table name is ABC and there are four columns. First column is varchar, second column is number, third column is date, and fourth column is number. Now try to give me some data for this. Table name is ABC, four columns are one column, first column is varchar, second is number, third is date, fourth is number. So give me the data for this and try to insert one record. Number, varchar number, date number, and table name is ABC. So insert into table name, that is insert into ABC values, keval not value. it should be well used. For varchar we are using single quotes. For number we do not use single quotes. For date we have to use first three characters of month, then the date and then the year, and then again for number we will not use a the single quotes. Right. Now if I want to update the data for any table, what will be the syntax? What is the syntax of updating the data? What is the syntax of updating a data? What is the syntax of updating a data? What is the syntax of updating the data? What is the syntax of updating a data? Anyone? Update command. I am talking about update command. Yes. Anyone? Update table name set column name equals to value where condition. Parthiv, you should write down set column name equals to value, and then we are going to have the condition. Yes, great. Next, how to delete a particular record from the table? How to delete a particular record from the table? Delete a particular record from the table. Anyone? How to delete a record from the table? What is the syntax of delete command? What is the syntax of delete command? Delete from table name where condition. Very good. Okay, so these are the four DML commands, that is select, insert, update and delete. Right. Then comes DCL. So what do you mean by DCL? 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 Data control language. So, what is the use of data control language and what commands fall under data control language? To give access of the database. That means you are actually controlling which user will be able to have an access to your database, which user will not have any access to your database. So you are actually controlling the access of your database, and the commands that are used are grant and revoke. So if I want to give the other users some permission of my database, I will use grant command, And if I want to take back the permissions from my from the users, then I will use revoke command. Great. Then comes the last one is TCL, that is transaction control language. So what do you mean by transaction control language? What do you mean by transaction control language? Okay, so transaction control language mainly deals with managing the effective execution of each transaction in the database. And for that we have three commands. So what are the three commands we have? What are the three commands we have in transaction control? Commit, rollback, and save point. So what is the use of commit command? No, Anand. Exact answer I want. What is the use of commit command? Commit means the transaction has successfully completed or executed all its operations and all the changes to the database has been made properly without creating any type of inconsistency. So we are actually finalizing or ending the transaction, but we are making sure that transaction has executed all its operations successfully without making any disturbance to the database, right? So that is commit command. What is rollback command? What is rollback command? What do you mean by rollback? What do you mean by a rollback command? Some error is there, so all the changes made in the database is recovered or replaced by the old values. Yes. So rollback means if there is any error in the database transaction, then we need to revert back all the changes made by that transaction and come back to the initial or starting position. That is what rollback means. And what do you mean by save point? What do you mean by save point? What do you mean by save point? Anyone? Any idea? What do you mean by save point? So save points are used to temporarily save a transaction so that you can roll back to that point whenever or necessary. Okay. So save points are similar to the checkpoints. So what you can do is if you know that there would be some type of failures, right? So in case of failures, if you want to recover your transaction, then you can use save points or checkpoints. So at very regular interval, there will be some checkpoints created by the transaction manager, and those checkpoints will store the details of the transaction and the operations that transaction has already performed. So in case of failure, if you want to recover your transaction or recover your database, you can use checkpoints or save points. You will come to know that after which point the transaction has failed. So it is a type of recovery. It is used in a recovery. So these are the four main languages of SQL or DBMS: DDL, DML, DCL, and TCL. So is there any doubt anyone in any of this? Is there any doubt anyone in any of this? Any doubts in any of this DDL, DML, DCL, and TCL? Right. Okay. So now we have covered about half of the unit number one. So now let us discuss first of all what will be the syllabus of your mid semester. What will be the syllabus of your mid semester examination? That is also important, right? So let's first discuss the syllabus of mid semester examination. Right. So your mid sem 2, I think it's on 5th November, right? Your mid semester 2 is on 5th of November. It is compulsory for everyone to appear in mid sem 2. Am I right? Is your mid semester on 5th November? Yes. Check the timetable. So the syllabus for your mid semester will be unit number 4, that is relational database languages, that is normal forms, functional dependencies, closure attributes, and all these things, normalization and everything. So unit number 4 will be there. Then unit number 7, sorry, unit number 8, that is database security. Unit number 10, that is PLSQL, and then practical number 4 and 5. So this is the syllabus for your mid semester. Again I am repeating: unit number 4, unit number 8, unit number 10, and then practical 4 and 5. Clear, guys? Everyone? So again I'm writing in the chats unit 4, comma 8, comma 10, and practical 4 and 5. So this is the syllabus of your mid-semester. Right, everyone? And one more thing, uh, as I said, from tomorrow, from 12 o'clock, 12:30, you will be having sessions of this Constitution of India, and you will be using Zoom meeting for conducting the lectures, right? So everyone is requested, if you are using mobile, then you download Zoom app, and if you are using laptop, download Zoom launcher, right? Because you'll require these two things to attend the lectures. The lectures will be from 12:30 to 2 on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. And I'm going to share the link to attend the lecture in your email. I'm sending a Zoom meeting link in your email. So just check it out and use that link to attend the lecture tomorrow sharply at 12:20. Join at least 10 minutes before the actual time. Clear with this, everyone? So I'll email you by today itself the link of joining the Zoom meeting for Thursday, Friday, and Saturday's lecture. The link will be common for all the three lectures, right? So you will use the same link for Thursday, same link for Friday, and same link for Saturday. Clear with this, guys? Everyone? Any doubts so far? Right. So let's end this lecture here.